Welcome back to another episode of Rams Faithful. I am your host James Hurley here with my co-host Jordan. Jordan, how we doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Feeling good following that win against the Saints. Looking forward to next week's game. Feeling strong.
Sweet. I'm really excited about this game because I don't know if excited is the right word. Stressed might be a better word for it because we talked about it earlier in the week how much we hate the 49ers. And ladies and gentlemen, it is 49ers week. So, Rams 49ers 425 this Sunday. Rams go in 6-2, the Niners go in 6-3. What are your thoughts on going into this game, Jordan?
I definitely respect this opponent as much as I do hate them. There's a healthy respect there for Shanahan. I don't know if we'll see Purdy or Mac Jones. Something tells me it's going to be Mac Jones, just gut instinct. I don't think they'll bring Purdy back for his first game against the Rams in such a critical game, too, for both teams. Um, I think we should win. I do think we're the better team, but you never know with this team. It's a weird matchup with the 49ers. They know us, we know them. They hate us, we hate them. So it'll be a good test for sure.
Yeah, they beat us the first time we played them this season in Rams house. Now we go to San Francisco. And like I said to you, I think in one of the last episodes, we got to beat them at their stadium, and then we got to win the Super Bowl in their stadium come February. So that is the goal. But before we talk more about Rams whiners, as I like to call them, let's talk about Rams Saints because this is a game that the Rams absolutely dominated, and it has to be talked about. I know the Saints aren't, you know, the best team in football to say the very least. But the Rams win this game 34-10. We're going to break down some film for you guys right here. This is something new that we're doing here on Rams Faithful. One thing that I would like to point out before I ask you the same question, I'm kind of going to answer it myself real quick. Um, the thing that stood out to me the most, Matthew Stafford, I believe 4 touchdown passes. I mean, he has just been on fire. I think he's the MVP right now. I don't think it's a debate, but would you agree with me in saying Matthew Stafford's the MVP right now?
100%. If I had a vote, I would definitely vote for Stafford. I would take it a step further and say, in my opinion, right now, all bias aside, I think Matthew Stafford's playing like the best quarterback in the league. And I don't think you can really argue it right now. Mahomes just lost. I know Josh Allen, my guy, is great. But as terms of just complete game, arm talent, IQ, no one right now is as good as Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with you there. I was uh I was trying to defend Stafford before the season started, calling him a top 5 quarterback on one of the old podcasts we had here on my channel. And people were giving me, some like negative comments like Stafford is not top 5. He's too old. He's going to have back problems. He's not that good. Thankfully, Stafford's made me look pretty smart with that take. I said he was top 4. I had him behind Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. I had him at 4. He might be even higher right now because he is playing great football. He's playing like the most valuable player in the NFL. I mean, just like you said, like he's playing like no other quarterback really is. Mahomes is great, and that's obvious. Allen's great, that's obvious. Burrow's hurt. Lamar is coming off of an injury. Is Stafford the number one QB in the NFL right now? I mean, that's a great topic to discuss. I think we can agree easily, both as Rams fans. Maybe a little biased, but I don't even think that's Rams bias saying that he's playing like the best quarterback in football right now. I think that's just being a knowledgeable football fan. By the way, as we watch this film, we see Cardi miss another extra point. Was that was that blocked? Or was
It
that
was
just
it was tipped for
was it?
sure.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if you saw before we started recording, we actually signed Jake McQuaid, if you remember him, our old long snapper
Oh
from back in the
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was interesting, him coming back in. I always liked him. Great long snapper for sure. Him and Johnny Hecker had a great connection.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, we're a Super Bowl contender and our one move at the deadline was signing a long snapper. But I mean, you can't really complain. He was with us 2011 to 2020. And the thing that I find most interesting about that is, people are probably watching this like, who cares? It's a long snapper, but I think it's pretty cool because now he joins Rob Havenstein as the only two St. Louis Rams left on the team.
That
Because
is
Rob
cool.
Havenstein was the only one left, and now if you think about it, 2011 to 2020, half those years were in St. Louis because we moved back to LA in 2016. So now we have two players from the St. Louis Rams with the LA Rams. So I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully we don't play like the early 2010 St. Louis Rams, but we have a very different team from then, so I don't think we have to worry about that. But by the way, this pass right here, I wanna go back and take another look at this. My goodness, what a pass for Matthew Stafford. We were saying he's playing like the best quarterback in football. Let's take another look at this. I mean, everyone was talking about the catch from Puka, but that couldn't have been a better ball. What are your thoughts on that, Jordan?
I mean, great pass right in the breadbasket. Stafford has an incredible touch, one of the best arm talents in NFL history. Great to have number 12 back, by the way. Missed him. Um, that yeah, Stafford just right where you want it. He is so good at that, and just him and Puka picked up right where you and your guy Cooper Cup and him left off with that
Yeah.
connection. I love seeing him build that connection with Ferguson right there too. I really, really like Terrence Ferguson.
Me too. Me
I'm
too.
really high on him for sure.
I I want to be even higher on him, and oh boy, here comes Cardi. I wonder if this is gonna go in. I mean, oh my goodness, that was 10 yards wide. What are we
And
doing?
they were saying if he would have straight lined it, it was so low that it would have gotten blocked anyways.
Yeah,
So
and that's another problem. I mean, if that was gonna get blocked, that's a problem, but you can't kick it 10 yards to the right because you don't want it to get blocked. I'd
yeah,
rather
he's a
kick it
mess.
straight and it maybe get blocked than, kick it all the way over here. It's not gonna go in. But I mean, anyways, like we were saying about Terrence Ferguson, I want to see this kid shine because obviously I think you would agree that we are big Tyler Higbee fans. Tyler Higbee is probably the best tight end to ever put on a Rams uniform, and be honest. Um, I love Tyler Higbee, but he is getting older. And plus, it's nice to have another reliable tight end to have on the team. And especially, Terrence is more of a receiving tight end more than a blocking tight end like Higbee is. So it's kind of cool to have one of each. And when you traded back to take this guy early in the second round, you better use him. And they're starting to use him more. He had a touchdown in London against the Jaguars. Uh, but yeah, you take the floor here. What makes you a big fan of Terrence Ferguson?
Well, I actually did a lot of research on him when he came out of Oregon. I've memory suits me. He's like got all the Oregon tight end records, I think.
Wow.
What I really like about Terrence Ferguson, where I think he's got a high ceiling coming into the draft. McVay was comparing him to Chris Cooley, Travis Kelsey. So right away there, I was like, man, if he can just be something close to that, you got a dog. But his size, he's got great hands. He's got a really good knack for finding ways to get open behind the defense, too. He's just a really, really talented player. And it's been tough for him to get on the field because Colby Parkinson's such a good blocker. You mentioned Higbee's blocking. And then Davis Allen, he's really kind of starting to come into his own as well out of Clemson. He's a very, very good player, too. So there's a lot of talent in that tight end room. See your guy Blake Corum making some nice runs there.
Yeah, my
But
guy.
Terrence Ferguson, he is going to be special one of these days. He's building every week, getting better and better. And I'd look out for him this week in San Francisco for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that I love when they mix in the tight end in the offensive game plan. I talk to my dad about that all the time. He's like, get the tight end involved because guys like Puka or Devontae Adams, they're phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. We want them in the game plan. We even want Tutu Atwell in the game plan, running 40-yard routes. That's fine. But you got to give them a break sometimes. And if the running game isn't working, go to the tight end. Go to Higbee. Go to Ferguson. Go to Davis Allen. Davis Allen should have had a touchdown this week if it weren't for that face mask call, which was the correct call. It was a face mask. But he didn't need to do that. He didn't. I don't know if you noticed that, but the face mask on what would have been a touchdown, and then Cardi ends up missing the short field goal to, we come away with no points. Thankfully, this is a game where that's not going to cost us because we're up by so many points against, a not so great New Orleans Saints team. But I love our tight end room right now. I really do. And by the way, to switch the topic really quick, Nate Landman, we were talking about him earlier, joking around about getting like a Nate Landman jersey. He's a dog. I mean, he's coming off a game in Baltimore where he has 17 tackles. Fast forward a few weeks, he forces another fumble. I mean, I want to go back and I don't even know if this video was showing it, but I want to go back and watch this play again. Nate Landman comes in and he just goes boom, punches the
Yep.
ball out, and it's our ball. I mean, that's a textbook play right there from Nate Landman. What are your thoughts on Nate Landman so far in his breakout season here in LA?
He has been fantastic, great player for sure. Just his difference in the run game, him and I'll give a little bit of credit to Puna Ford as well, but that is night and day when you look at our run defense last year compared to this year. It is Nate Landman. He leads the defense, team captain. He makes all the plays too when you really need him. That play, we don't probably beat Houston without Landman peanut punching it out right there.
No,
So
we don't.
he's been a godsend for sure. Maybe the best asset we got from Atlanta. I've heard a bunch of Rams fans joke around. I hate to hate on the Falcons, but every week they lose, I'm licking my chops for that draft pick for sure.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I mean, I don't have anything against the Falcons, but we need them to lose. And them
right.
losing again this week to New England is awesome. I mean, I was thinking about it. If they have a bad season, what are they? 3-5 right now?
I think
Something like
that's
that.
right.
3-5. If they can finish, this might be pushing it, but let's say they go 3-5 in their next 8 games and they're 6-10. And let's say they finish 7-10 or 6-11. We could end up with a top 10 pick. We could end up with our own pick, which is hopefully going to be the 32nd pick, and then
Yes.
maybe somewhere around the 10th pick. If that happens, Jordan, do we take a QB? Does it
I believe
happen time?
so. I
Yeah.
believe we do take a QB right there. I mean, it all depends on who's on the board. I actually looked at a mock draft earlier today, just curious, and it had us picking an offensive lineman. I think we were at like 11 or 12 from the Falcons pick,
Mhm.
and I believe a corner with our own pick with somewhere in the 20s. They're not believing yet, but they
Yeah.
will when the time comes.
They will February 8th.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against the Falcons, like I said, but it's definitely a year where we don't want them to do well. It's funny because I think the other week they were playing San Francisco, and it was like, as much as I hate the 49ers, I'll never root for them, but this is a win-win situation for us because either the Falcons lose and we get a better draft pick, or the Niners lose and we're happy because we hate the 49ers. So
Right.
either way, it's a win-win situation. Let's just hope like they don't tie or something because that would stink. But one of them is going to lose, and it was the Falcons that ended up losing the game. If the Falcons keep playing how they're playing and they have that weird quarterback situation as our film wraps up here, that guy looked like Andrew Whitworth a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he? But yeah, I mean, as the film wraps up here, we'll get this out of the way in just a moment. But I mean, heck of a game played in New Orleans. But I mean, this team is looking really good, and thankfully for us, Atlanta is not looking great. We actually do have a podcast here on this channel for the Falcons, so shout out to those guys
I've
on the
seen
podcast.
that.
But unfortunately, guys, we do need you to keep losing. Uh, I would say best of luck, but I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But we do need them to lose, and I would love a top 10 pick. I would love a quarterback, and we were saying a little bit about Stafford before about how is this his last year? Is it not his last year? If it's not his last year, I think we can still draft a quarterback. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's Stafford's last year? If it is or isn't, do we draft a QB? And if it's not his last year, do we not draft a quarterback and just keep riding with Stafford for another year or two? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think If we do win the Super Bowl, when we do win the Super Bowl, I sadly to say, even if he wins MVP, Super Bowl MVP, I got just a gut feeling this is Nine's last dance. Him and Adams kind of all coming together right when you want it. I'd maybe like to see. I'm hoping maybe this is reaching. Von Miller might get cut since the Redskins are kind of reeling.
Mhm.
Maybe come back. I know Odell's still available. Bring the two guys back. We need a kicker too. I don't know who's all available, but we'll figure
Too
that
bad,
out.
too bad Greg Zerline's not available,
I know,
right?
I know. Or Matt Gay
Or
too.
Matt
Yeah, for
Gay,
sure.
yeah.
Right. Definitely. So we'll figure it out. If I was a betting man, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, strangely enough, will be our starting quarterback week 1 next year, whether we draft a quarterback or not. That's
Oh,
just based
no.
off of what I've heard.
Oh, no, don't say
We'll
that.
see. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh,
But there's
no.
a lot of football to be played before then. And it'll depend on where the mock drafts and the real draft lands up because this isn't a super quarterback friendly draft right now. There's Ty Simpson and a couple other guys at the top, but if we're at like 10, there might not be an obvious just hey draft this quarterback. So we'll see. We'll see where Stafford's at. I do think this will be his last year, but I will never bet against Nine. And he has earned the right to stay here as long as he wants to play.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think, you know, last offseason, there were trade rumors about him going to the Giants or going to, you know, somewhere else. Where was the other destination? It was the Giants and
Raiders
the
were
Raiders,
interested
the
for
the
sure.
Raiders, which was weird. Obviously, it didn't end up happening. Stafford wanted to stay here. We wanted him to stay here, and thankfully, it all ended well. But or at least so far, we got to win a Super Bowl for it to end well. But I think that those trade rumors, no matter what happens this year, even if the Rams were to worst case scenario, the Rams, you know, another universe lose out and they stink the rest of the year. I don't think it matters. I think Stafford is staying a Ram. I don't think there's ever going to be a trade. I think he's a Ram until the day he retires, whether that's this February, next February, the February after that. I think he'll be a Ram for the rest of his career. It just depends on how long that is. However, I do want to see them draft a quarterback. I don't know how strong this quarterback draft class is.
Not
Um,
not too strong.
no. So maybe they wait another year if Stafford plays another year. So maybe, let's say best case scenario, we win the Super Bowl this year. We run it back with Stafford one more year and then we draft a quarterback. Um, I think if Stafford retires, we have to draft a quarterback because you mentioned Jimmy G starting. I'm not comfortable with that at all. I'm not. I think it's part of me is still holding a grudge against him because he was a 49er, but I don't think, I don't think a team is capable of winning a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. And that's also, I mean, I hate to be Captain Obvious, but that is a very big downgrade from Matthew Stafford, who is a Hall of Famer. But at the end of the day, I don't think we'll have to worry about that too much. I think we're going to go Stafford right into a new QB, which I have no idea who the heck that's going to be. I'm a Michigan fan, so Bryce Underwood would be a great option for me, but he's only 18 years old, so he's got some work to do in college before he gets to the NFL. And I think there's going to be a good amount of time between Stafford retiring and Bryce Underwood entering the draft. So, are there any names that I know we said the quarterback draft class isn't very strong, but are there any names that stick out to you in college right now that are like, hey, I hope the Rams get this guy?
Hmm. I as far as in terms of who I would want, I would love actually one of those wide receivers, whether it be like a Ryan Smith or Ryan Williams or Jeremiah Smith, something like that. I know there was another guy for Ohio State that was supposed to be a really good wide receiver. But
Mhm.
I'm more in terms of thinking best player available. I know that's what people always say, but when you're as talented as we are, I think you can go best player available. I don't want to necessarily reach on a quarterback. Will say I do trust our management. I trust
Mhm.
McVay. I trust Les Snead to figure out, hey, this guy's good enough to win for us, or he's not. So I know there's some guys at the top, Ty Simpson from Alabama, Dante Moore from Oregon. There was another guy, the quarterback from Indiana. I don't remember his name, but he's been running up the draft boards recently. Something like Fernando or something. But
Yeah, I know
he's
exactly what you're talking
he's been
about.
shooting up the mock draft boards recently, so we'll see. There's going to be a lot of quarterback needy teams who unfortunately will probably be picking ahead of us. So we'll let time see where may lie.
Yeah. Um, if I could say a name that I have kept my eye on so far throughout this college football season, in the scenario where Stafford retires after this year, even if he doesn't, and it's another year, there is one guy that I really want the Rams to draft, and he is not he's not similar to Stafford at all in terms of play like how he plays the game. Give me Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. I think this kid, I don't know how familiar you are with him, but
Somewhat.
I have a friend who's a big South Carolina fan. He went there and he talks about him all the time. And I sat down and watched literally like a little bit of a game with him. And I'm not a huge fan of mobile QBs, but this kid can throw. He's not just a mobile quarterback. He's great in the pocket. He's a great scrambler, but he has a heck of an arm. And this kid could be really good in front of a solid Rams offensive line because right now, uh, I don't know how much you're keeping up with how good South Carolina is, but their offensive line is bad. Like they are
Yeah.
bad. We were watching the game, and I mean, they're showing the replays of like a sack, and there's offensive linemen that look like they're blindfolded out there. It is crazy, and I think you put Lenore Sellers. He was impressing me with the horrible offensive line and not being able to do much. Imagine him with guys like Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, and the Rams offensive line. I think that would be a great fit. We take him with the Falcons pick. And even if Stafford doesn't retire, we put him behind Stafford for a year, help him develop, help him learn a few things from number 9. And then he takes over as the next face of the franchise in LA. So I think that is what the dream scenario would be. You know, Rams win the Super Bowl with Stafford. He retires. We draft Sellers. I know that's a very I don't want to say it's a reach because I do think it can happen depending on how bad Atlanta is. But you also got to keep in mind if Atlanta, let's say we get like the 13th pick from Atlanta, what's stopping us from using our pick and their pick to trade up and get a top 10 pick? Do you think that
Right.
would be smart?
Um. Again, I would say it depends on the board, and if we're not sold on one of these quarterbacks to be our next franchise quarterback, I'd probably steer clear of packaging too many assets for
Mm,
one guy. But who knows? There are a few quarterbacks that are going to be available. We'll see where they rank them. But I have heard of Lenore Sellers. I'm familiar with his game for sure. I also, you might disagree, but I'm not 100% giving up on Carson Beck either. I think he could maybe be decent at the next level. He's got some pro skills, so we'll see.
I could see that happening, but I could also see him being kind of like a Stetson Bennett, where he's very successful at college. He's very successful at Georgia. I know he's not at Georgia anymore, but he kind of reminds me of Stetson Bennett in the case where he's good for that system, but once he gets to the NFL, he's just going to be a backup, like how Stetson Bennett was. I could be completely wrong. I mean, there's been guys that seem like they're going to be a backup, but then they become a starter, like Tom Brady. But
Right.
it's kind of a toss up with Carson Beck. I feel like I wouldn't be too confident. What I wanted at the beginning of the year was the Falcons to be so bad that we could get Arch Manning. But now I don't know how I feel about that because Arch Manning has not looked good for Texas all year long. So, what are your thoughts on Arch Manning? Do you think there's any chance that he still goes high in the draft?
I don't think Arch Manning will declare for the draft this year, in my opinion.
Mm,
If he did, I do definitely think he would go in the first round just based off the name and talent, but we'll see. I do know he's got that connection with Les Snead, so we'll see. I
yeah.
don't expect Texas to actually, I really like OU's guy, John Mateer. That's a quarterback I've been pretty high on. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Baker Mayfield to maybe it's the only connection, but
I think there's so much talent out there, and I think that you know, it's a long way to the draft, but at the end of the day, the Rams got to focus on one thing, and that's winning a Super Bowl. But before they can do that, they got to focus on the guys that we don't like very much from San Francisco, those 40 whiners. Going into this game, Jordan, give me a little score prediction for the Rams.
Oh, I'll try to remain unbiased. We really need this one. I think McVay will have the guys ready. I did watch McVay's show today. He thinks Puka is going to be good to go. I figured he would be. I didn't have any doubt in my mind about that. Two going to be out. He's on IR. But mostly I don't think he's coming in. So Darius Williams, I think he should be back as well. So that'd be nice for sure. I did last week last time we played them. Got a little bit exposed. So I definitely would like to see them step it up a bit. Hopefully, McCreary can come in and make a difference right there. So with that being said, I'm going to say that's first fought over scoring game. Super Bowl 50 throwback score. I'll say 23-20 Rams. Maybe they get goals in there somehow.
I would love to see that. I do think it's going to be a close game. I do think the Rams get their payback on the Winers for them beating us at our house. I think we beat them at their house. This would be the third year in a row we beat them in San Francisco if it happens. So that would be pretty cool. So they can't, if that happens, I'm just saying, 49ers fans, you can no longer make the jokes about Levi's South if we go into your house 3 years in a row and beat you. If anything, that's SoFi North, if you ask me. I don't care. You can take over the stands. We'll take over the scoreboard. Completely fine by me.
That's right.
So, and before we wrap this up, I have a little surprise for you. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Come on, where is it? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially launching the JT Sports Network store with our first t-shirt.
Okay, I like it. I like it. I'll have to order one
Yeah,
for sure. I love
of
it.
course, of course. So look at this right here. Obviously I'm it's funny because I don't even curse, but then I come out with a t-shirt with a curse word on it. But yeah, buy your F the 49ers t-shirts right now on the JT Sports Network. The store is going to be launched in like literally a few days. So make sure you get your hands on these if you're a Rams fan. They're like only like $23, so it's not even that bad at all for a shirt nowadays. So make sure you get yourself a t-shirt. I will definitely be wearing this after the Rams beat the 49ers. Not if, when the Rams beat the 49ers this Sunday, this will be making an appearance. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow us on Instagram, and you'll be seeing me rep this shirt. So that'll be it for this episode. But Jordan, any last thoughts?
Get the win. Let's get in. Let's get the win. Get it, get it done. Come back home. Get ready for the next week. I think after that we got Seattle. So some tough football to play.
Yep. There's some tough football games coming up. We got the Niners, then we wear these jerseys against the Seahawks, and then we got the Bucks the Sunday night after Thanksgiving. So some tough games coming up. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Rams Faithful, and we will see you guys next week.